everyone, it's Eliza McNamara here to talk to you today about the importance of trusting yourself instead of looking to experts all the time. Like, so many people in life do not trust themselves. They find it so difficult to trust their own reason, their own intuition, and they're constantly seeking advice from other people or from experts, and they think that experts always know better than they do. And basically, the point I'm trying to make here is that if you're doing something and it's working, don't worry about what the experts say, because it doesn't bloody matter what the experts say. The experts don't know everything. Just because somebody is an expert doesn't mean that they're God. That doesn't make them like God. You know, it doesn't mean that they're God. It doesn't mean that they know everything. You sometimes will know more than an expert. Not sometimes, probably a lot of the time, maybe even more of the time, because you know yourself and your needs better than anyone else. Nobody is going to know you better than you know you. And this is so important for us to take into account, because just because somebody has a certain position, we assume that they know better than us. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. Sometimes you've got to understand that everybody is human. We are all human, and we are all an expert in something. I guarantee there's at least 5 things that you could say you're an expert about, whether it's cooking or playing golf or driving or whatever, it doesn't matter, or surfing. You are an expert in many things yourself, and you would not say to somebody that you know better than they do because you're an expert in that thing. Because we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. But who's to say that your strength is stronger than anyone else's? And it just drives me mad, because people do not trust themselves at all. Not at all, but they think that they've got to constantly seek stuff from outside sources. Like, there was this hilarious thing in the Financial Review the other day, who was saying, oh my gosh, it's absolutely fantastic. You know, like, these days we can get any information on anything we want. We can go to Google and type in anything we want and get the information on it. Whether you want to lose weight, or you want to put on weight, or you want to put on muscle, or you want to learn how to trade stocks, or you want to learn how to cook, or whatever. It could be anything. And we don't realise that there's all of this information out there, and what this thing in the Financial Review says, that there's all of this information, there's so much of it, that they all disagree with each other. And as they're all disagreeing with each other, we may as well not read any of it. And I think that's absolutely hilarious, because really, I mean, there's all these experts saying this thing, that thing, the other thing, and they all disagree with each other. And then we take it as the God's honest truth. When really, who's the idiot? We're the idiots, because we take all of this stuff as the God's honest truth. We don't compare it to what we feel and what we think about a particular topic. I'm not saying you shouldn't read or use Google or listen to experts. I mean, they're fantastic. They're all fantastic. But you have to trust yourself, because at the end of the day, only you know what's best for you. Nobody else will ever know better than you do. I mean, obviously there are certain situations where you stop being objective and you need an objective third party to point things out. That happens sometimes. Sometimes we become too emotionally involved in our own stuff. It's like, you could look at somebody and say, right, they've got this problem, that problem, that problem, and they should do this, 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 and this to fix that problem. We can all do that. Yeah, I'm sure we've all got friends who we look at and think, oh my gosh, it's so obvious. Why don't they see it? It's like, some things are just so bloody obvious and people don't get it because it's sitting right in front of them. It's like when you're looking for something and you're holding it and you feel like such an idiot because you've been looking for it for a couple of minutes and you're holding it. You know, like, go figure. These things happen. And that's because we get caught up in our own stuff. So the only time I reckon you really need to look for outside help is obviously if you're gathering information to make your own decision, or if you feel you're too emotionally caught up in whatever it is, right? Because sometimes we get a bit caught up in our own stuff, right? So if you do that, then things will be so much clearer, so much more obvious. You know, go to experts by all means to gather information and to learn, but don't assume that somebody, just because they are an expert, knows better than you do, or that they don't have any faults, and they are somehow something from another planet that's come down to save your life. Because really, at the end of the day, everybody has something amazing to offer. If you will only look. And most of the time we don't look to ourselves. We assume, we put a lower position on ourselves a lot of the time than we do on others. And this is not a positive thing, because just because you're not what you perceive to be as an expert in what you think you should be an expert in, it doesn't mean that you're not amazing as you are, because we all are. And there's this theory that we are all equal, and in a lot of ways, like economically, we're not all equal, obviously, right? But at the base level, we are all equal. And once you realize this, then you stop feeling intimidated by somebody's expert status, and you actually learn more. Because when you just listen to what somebody says and take that as the God's honest truth, you can't learn, you can't grow. But when you listen to what somebody says and you take that and you incorporate that into your own knowledge base and actually use it and add it to what you've already got, then things will move forwards for you much quicker. And to illustrate my point of what I was just talking about, Goldman Sachs, I'm sure you've heard of them, they're a massive New York-based trading company, right? 7 out of 10 of their trading recommendations, people lost money on. 7 out of 10. So they're like this great big massive company, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Goldman Sachs know everything, don't they? Oh yes. So if we follow their advice, we'll be fine, because they're Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs are the best investment company in New York, apparently. But what happened? People lost money because they trusted experts instead of consulting their own knowledge bank. And that illustrates my point perfectly. 6 minutes and 4